On September 29, 1990, Matthew and Gunnar Nelson, better known as the rock band Nelson, hit #1 on the Hot 100 charts with their debut single, Can't Live Without Your Love and Affection. This release served as a spark that would ignite their musical career, skyrocketing the sales of their debut album, After the Rain, to more than 3 million copies. But what does it take to reach this level of success? The Nelson twins come from a long line of fame and are marked in the Guinness Book of World Records as the only family in entertainment with 3 successive generations of #1 hitmakers. Recently, Matthew and Gunnar Nelson graciously allowed our media production team to discuss their music, their family, and their legacy. Hi Matt, hi Gunnar. Thank you so much for meeting with me today.
Sure.
It's such a pleasure to get to talk to you guys. So first, I'm curious, tell me about how you knew you wanted to pursue a career in the music industry. Was there a defining moment where you knew this is what God had called you to do?
Oh yeah, I was 2, I think. I was 2. Well, our family's a show business family, so we always had music around, and they moved our cribs aside to have our dad rehearse his band in our nursery. And I think the first time that I connected what he did to make people happy, and I saw a guy playing music on stage, and there were lots of people, and everybody was smiling and applauding, and I looked on stage and thought, wow, that looks like Papa. It is Papa. And it was like I made that connection, really, of him elevating people in that way. And so I think that was the connection that made me think, well, he's doing something that's making people happy. I want to do that.
Now let's rewind back to the early 1990s after the release of your debut single, Can't Live Without Your Love and Affection. How did you guys' life change after the release of this?
Well, you know, it's funny. People say that fame or celebrity or success changes the person. I found that not to be true at all. It only changed everybody around us. I mean, Matt and I had been playing since we were 5 and 6 years old, got our first instruments when we were that young. Then we started playing the LA clubs from the time we were 12 years old. From 12 to 18, we were sharing the stage with bands like the Knack and the Go-Go's. We made our first record when we were 20 years old, and we actually, our big break was, there was a show on MTV called Dial MTV. Back then, actually, music television, MTV, was the world's biggest radio station. So, you know, if you had a presence on MTV or a hot video, you were a star. And there was a big MTV video jockey, and she actually took her vacation, and they asked me and Matthew to go in and substitute for her. We were unknown at that.
We hadn't released our single yet, nothing.
We hosted the video show for about a week. That is what really did it,
really
for
is.
us.
They kept it hidden from us because we announced the #1 video in the country. It was ours.
Wow.
It had debuted at #1.
But we were exactly the same guys. We didn't change at all.
That's crazy how things just change in an instant.
Yeah, and it really is. You're one yes away from a completely different life, as we always say. One opportunity. You know the answer is always no if you don't take the shot.
That's really good. So I know you guys, all your tours have taken you all around the US and really all around the world. Tell me about what it's like to be on tour.
Well, it's different now than it was back then.
We toured extensively with our first album. I think what's pretty amazing though is that music truly is international. I just remember we were playing in Jakarta, Indonesia, had a concert for us, and it's predominantly a Muslim country.
Our promotional posters had us wearing our crosses,
Yeah.
and they actually, this
airbrushed
before
them out.
Photoshop, they airbrushed them out.
You know,
Wow.
so it was kind of like we were dealing with differences that were bigger, honestly, than music. We had no idea what to expect, and we went on stage, and this sound hit us, and it was all these fans. These people actually learned the English lyrics of our songs and sang them back to us. And we're thinking, this is actually something that's bigger than we are. I mean, we've always felt that. We've always felt God in what we do. But this is bigger than we are, by a long shot, and it can connect everybody.
You know, we always felt like God gave us this inspiration to write songs and deliver those songs with the bigger picture in mind, which is promoting the connection. Because music really, our grandmother always said that, you know, boys, if you do this for a living, remember, you're not in the music business, you're not in the entertainment business, you're in the connection business. Our music has been such a blessing. It's enabled us to cross these incredible divides of culture and religion.
And even age, you know, because nothing's better than, you know, a little kid coming to see us perform, and they say, this is my first show ever. And you know, you give them guitar picks and stuff like
That's
that,
really
and you
cool.
talk to them, and you can see this thing happens with them. They just light up, and I think that really is the blessing of everything. It really is that connection stuff, and Gunnar's right. It's a means to an end, really, when it comes down to it.
Would you say that you guys have a favorite maybe tour or a concert or an audience? You know, one that just stands out to you the most?
Yeah, I've got one, and again, our answers are going to
Okay, I want to know. Go ahead.
For me, believe it or not, it wasn't the first. When we went out on the first Nelson tour, Matthew and I, at 22 years of age, were employing 45 people on a worldwide tour, playing in the biggest arenas and stadiums in the world, which was amazing. But before that happened, you actually go through this phase, and it's the promotional phase of a record before you go out on a proper tour. It's like a radio tour, okay? So there are 3 tiers of radio stations. You got your priority 3, that's like
In the middle of nowhere.
and it basically gets the local community. Then you get your priority 2 station. That's like, you know, Bakersfield, Fresno, cities. Your priority 1s, those are the really hard ones to get your records on. That's like New York, Chicago. We had a station in Erie, Pennsylvania, and it was our first priority 2 that picked us up. But when we showed up, they didn't tell us that it was just me and Matthew, 2 acoustic guitars. They had to take us out on a boat to the end of this big pier, and they opened up this curtain, and there were 66,000 people that had come just to see me and Matthew play and sing with acoustic guitars.
That's such a cool surprise.
To date, we played incredible shows and big arenas, but that surprise of that show and just me and my brother, that was for me, my favorite concert we've ever played.
Yeah, and mine was a little different. Los Angeles, California is a place called the Universal Amphitheater. When we were growing up, it was a very, very famous venue. It was also the last venue we ever saw our father perform in. We lost him in 1985 in an accident. 6 years later, Gunnar and I sold out the same venue in 5 minutes. Wow. You know, I really felt him on stage that night.
That's such a cool experience. Okay, so now we have to talk about how your family is actually in the Guinness Book of World Records.
We have to talk about that.
It's crazy.
We just have to.
You come from a family of entertainment. Tell me what family means to you.
Family's everything. Yeah, God, family, and country. In that order. You know, we're truly honored to be here doing what we love to do. We've never known a day when we haven't wanted to uphold the family tradition and do it honorably.
Well, I think it's also twofold. It's not only the generations that came before us. The fact is, Gunnar and I are identical twins. And God brought us in together because, frankly, this is not an easy business to be in. And I think being an identical twin has really helped us navigate this business.
It's far more important of a legacy to be a truly good person, living a good life and wanting to connect people and be a part of the solution, not the problem.
Exactly.
That's so much more important than chart stats.
So now let's talk about the balance between art and faith.
Grace was a word our grandmother, it was her ultimate compliment. We were at the Wild Horse downtown here in Nashville, and Matt and I went out, we did our little bit and all that stuff, and that was fun. And then the big finale was Dolly Parton showing up and going out and doing a duet on a Dolly Parton standard called 9 to 5. Now this American Idol girl goes out there, clearly she didn't do any of the homework, didn't take it seriously, went out there and totally screwed up not only the lyrics, it was brutal and bad.
Here's Grace.
Dolly stopped the music in the middle of the performance. So, whoa, wait a minute.
Wait a minute, folks.
It was a train wreck, okay? And she said, hey y'all, I just need to apologize. She completely took the heat for the newbie.
She fell on the sword and taught her a lesson. She did it kind of like, this is how you do it.
She just took control of the situation in a very loving way, taught the newbie a lesson, and didn't know she taught the old guy a lesson too.
And honestly, that's what Jesus talks about. It's really easy to be nice to people that are nice to you. But if you can find a way of being kind in your heart at those moments, that's what it's about.
And finally, your music and lyrics have been heard by fans all around the world. Do you have any advice for people who maybe want to pursue a career in the entertainment industry like me, or really just are interested in music in general? What advice would you give to them?
You know, Gunnar and I have 3 rules, basically, that we live by, right? Go ahead, Gunnar. Tell her what the rules are.
Well, the first one's be undeniably good. The second one is always keep your sense of humor, because you're going to need it in this life, let alone this business. And the third, just don't be a jerk. I would take any new artist. I can't tell you how you're going to do it, the when it's going to happen, but the first thing I would concentrate on is the why. Answer the why. Meaning, why should somebody listen to you uniquely over everybody else? There's 16,000 songs released every single week. Why would someone want to come to you for the message you uniquely have and that's what I would focus on first.
That's such a cool answer. Thank you guys so much for meeting with me. Yeah, that's all I have. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Somebody give this girl a job. She's awesome.
Thanks.